And relax. Stream has
Yay.
started. There's nothing that can be done.
Everything is
Relax.
already either
Stream has
broken
started.
or
There's nothing that can be done. That
everything
is
is
how this works. Yes.
okay.
So how's your day been then?
It hasn't been too long yet on account of it being, early still here in Tennessee.
Yeah, fair. I mean, that's legitimate.
Dropped my kid off at school without incident. The public school system here in Nashville, it's our last full day of school today.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh.
Because we start, at the beginning of August.
Yeah, yeah. We don't start until September.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that always kind of, I like every time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of time off. That's like 3 full months off. We only get like 6 weeks.
Well, no, because it's, the end of May, basically, till the beginning of August is 2 months. Maybe
Seems
two
like a
months
lot
and
of
an extra
time.
week. Yeah. Well, the big advantage of this is that the half term, I think you'd call it, is at Christmas. So the kids take their, half term exams in before Christmas instead of having to study after. And at the college level, especially where you take classes that are only one semester long, having the semester break be the Christmas and New Year break means you don't have stuff that you forget between the two.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I personally like that element of it. But, you know, I also
It's
what I grew up with.
yeah,
But,
it just feels like you get a lot of time off in one thing, and when like as a teacher, if I was like if the kids are in school for more than 6 weeks at a time, they go like, and that happens every so often, but they do go a bit feral.
yeah. Well,
So,
well, this is one of the big appeals for the teaching profession in the United States, though, is that it's one of the only jobs where you get a long known break, where you have 2 months off
yeah.
every year. So for people that have family overseas, or most jobs, even if you get 5 or 6 weeks of vacation, you're not allowed to spend it in more than 1 or 2 week chunks. Because you're
Okay.
too important to the company to be gone for 3 weeks at a time.
I mean, that makes sense. I'm just like it just feels like not very good educationally,
Yeah,
because
I don't know if it is or not, but I
kids get very tired if they're forced to work for very long periods of time without breaks. So that's why we have half terms.
well,
So
we also have. Let me pull up our calendar for next year, just because this is district wide. So, and people know I live in Nashville. My kid goes to public school, so this affects hundreds of schools or however many we have, a lot of them. But okay, so the idea is they come back August 8th, and then they've got a 4-day weekend, September 2nd through 5th, and then they've
okay,
got a 10-day break in the middle of October
yeah,
for fall break. And then they've got a 3-day weekend, the weekend of the 28th of October, because I think there's a voting day, and a lot of the schools are voting
okay,
locations. For security reasons, they realize they should just close the schools on voting days.
yeah. No, that is legit. That's something that
So,
should happen.
big mayoral election coming up, that sort of thing. So, then, actually, wait, maybe that's November 8th. Why do we have off October 28th? Oh, Parent Conference Day. Okay. But either way, so there's a 3-day weekend at the end of October as well. There's a 3-day weekend in the middle of November for Veterans Day, and then a 5-day weekend for Thanksgiving. And then Christmas, they have off the 17th of December through the 9th of January. So they got, that's 3 solid weeks for Christmas there.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Then a 3-day weekend in the middle of February for MLK Day. That's Martin Luther King for our international audience, who was a civil rights leader. Mid-March, the 10th through the 19th, they've got spring break. So that's like 10 days there. Beginning of April, April 6th and 7th. Why is that? Just probably Easter holiday. So it's 4-day weekend there. And then they're through the end of the school year. So,
Okay, I take back the criticism and say, are your kids ever in school?
sometimes.
There's the difference. It's just sort of like, that's a lot of time.
Yeah. Kindleus from Canada writes, in high school we had our exams in the middle of January, so Christmas holidays always had a ton of pressure to study. Yeah, see, I've heard that from people who went, like, up north for school. Like, because in New England, which is, like, Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania, that area, they also start in September and get out in June for their, like, universities. And I don't see the point. Like, it makes more sense to just have the big semester break at the Christmas break.
I mean, sure. I admit that my brain did not process all those dates, so I'm just going to go with... Yeah, okay.
That's fine. Most of this is just Joe making noises while Cleo draws. There's no meaning. Don't read into it too much.
Fair.
Yeah. We're just taking turns talking to the audience.
Yeah. Thank you, Paleo, for the biddies, Captain Zemo for the 25-month resub, and Red for the biddies, clearing out the crumbs of leftover biddies. I appreciate that. Usually start school 2nd of January. Yeah, no, like 2nd and 3rd of January is fairly common over here as times when school starts. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, also, howdy to Sunflower Dragon and Chloe the Great and Powerful, Sprocket, Karakay, Evanetta, Ashley, and Skoon. Also, Badger Spanner writes, "Sup, nerds?" Sup, Badger Spanner?
Badger, you can't say that seriously.
Oh,
without
is that
classifying yourself as a nerd?
Yeah, I think that was the intent.
Yeah. Only cool people get to say that. It feels like, well, no, Badger's pretty cool, but how do I put it? Non-nerds get to say that way. It feels like.
I don't know, Cleo. Maybe that's something that we're bringing back in. You know.
We're bringing it back. It back. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
If anybody could bring it in, it's probably Badger, so that's fair.
Okay.
So, what's your project for today?
So I am going to be sketching more pinball playfields for this upcoming tournament that I'm going to Wisconsin for. It's like the biggest deal tournament I've ever been at, and some of the machines they're gonna have there I've never played in person before, so I at least want to be familiar with the rough layouts of the playfields, because it's a classics tournament, so a lot of the machines are from the 70s and 80s, so like certain things have become kind of standardized in pinball over the course of the last 50 years that weren't necessarily standard back then. There's going to be some real oddball design choices made back in the day, and I don't want to just walk up to a machine and be like, what the heck is this? Like, even if I'm just like at least roughly familiar with the idea that this thing exists, it's better for me than if I'm walking up to it completely fresh. So, yeah, that's what I am working on now. I've got I say I've got it. I'm pulling up the list of machines. They've got the list of every game that's going to be at the event as part of the tournament, so people can prepare on their website. So I'm going through chronologically, because that's how they listed them. If they listed them alphabetically, I'd be doing them alphabetically. But we just did Lost World 1978. So I think we are moving on to Memory Lane 1978. Yep.
June is Donut Month. It's also Pride Month, but I had forgotten that, which
It's not. It's not memory
makes
month,
me a very
so you
bad
don't need to feel
LGBT.
bad.
It makes me a very bad LGBT person to forget that June is actually Pride Month, and I could have had an excuse to do rainbows in my journal.
You can put
I
colorful
did last year.
sprinkles on the donuts.
Yeah, and I did it last year, to be fair. So Pride donuts, it could be.
Yeah.
Could just make rainbows in the background, I suppose. Yeah.
I think. Yeah, the Apple Watch Pride Edition sport band for this year is actually rainbow sprinkles. And a lot of people were like, Tim Cook, you really dropped the ball on this one. Like, usually these are gorgeous rainbow watch bands, and this year it's Pride sprinkles. But if anybody can make Pride sprinkles look good, Cleo, I'm sure it's you.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
definitely
just
not
gonna.
Apple Computer of Cupertino, California.
I'm just not gonna. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's like I am queer every day of the year, so I can put rainbows when I like and where I like. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to be specifically June.
Yep.
Oh, Gemmaling has resubscribed for 13 months. I've recently graduated, so my schedule allows me to be able to watch more of your awesome streams. Yay!
Welcome to a new schedule.
It's gonna be awesome, and like honestly, like the best feeling that like in history for me was the day that I walked out of university and went, I never have to do that again.
Oh, nice.
Unless I want to and have the money.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't.
Yeah.
And don't.
I was very excited when I walked across the stage and got my diploma and opened it up, and there was actually a diploma in the case, because they'll give you an empty case if you fail one of your classes and have to come back for summer school.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's too late for them to change the ceremony. You know, if you were on track for graduating, and there was one class I was like, I might not pass this. And so
don't you know if you... When is your graduation that you don't know if you've passed or not?
It's like right after final exams.
Also, choo-choo, thank you very much.
Choo-choo. Where's the train whistle?
Hi, train. It's weird because what we had is we had our last exam, and then there was 2 weeks, and then they posted up everyone's results against their student number, so you couldn't figure out who failed, because one of our people failed and we didn't know who it was, and that was weird because there was 15 of us in that class.
Oh no.
So it was just sort of like, okay, well, if I passed and you passed and they passed, oh, it's that guy, that makes sense, kind of deal.
It's like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. But most of the classes there are like classes of hundreds and hundreds, but because geology was so niche, it was just sort of like, and we were all quite close, but it was just sort of like, yeah, no, this guy spent most of his time out rock climbing when he was supposed to be in classes. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, you should be rock doing, not rock climbing.
Yeah.
Like, look at the rocks. Look at them.
I mean, that's why he chose geology, is because he was a really avid rock climber, and he thought, I can just use this as an excuse to go out rock climbing and do like my side projects and stuff, which makes sense. Jaco Works has resubscribed for 4 months. It's been 4 months apparently. Yes, it has. Hope you're having a good day. I am having a good day. Transarachnia has resubscribed for 8 months. Push gifted 5 subs to the community. Thank you very much, Push. That's really appreciated. And McLesley cheered 500 biddies. You guys are amazing. Like, genuinely. What oddly specific hobby? What, rock climbing?
How is that oddly specific?
I don't know how that's oddly specific.
Like most people I know are climbing generalists. They see a bicycle leaning against a fence, they'll climb up the fence using the bicycle as the first step. They're just climbers. They're not rock climbers. It's an unnecessary level of subdivision that's indicative of pretension, if you ask me.
It's a good job no one did.
Oh, yeah. That's I actually started I was struggling with writing a tweet the other day. Are you familiar with the there's like this whole subreddit where people will like share a situation and then ask if they're in the wrong or if somebody else is in the wrong?
Yes, I am aware of that subreddit, yes.
Yeah. And I was writing this tweet about how this one thing kept happening to me, and it seemed ludicrous that it kept happening to me. And then I was just like, maybe there's a way to structure this as a Reddit post for that subreddit. And then I started asking, which then makes me think, well, what are people going to say back? And then I'm just like, oh, I'm in the wrong here. I didn't even post it. I'm just like, I'm in the wrong here. So,
yeah,
Cleo, would you like...
I am the butthole. Okay.
Yeah, would you like me to share my journey of self-discovery with you?
Yes, please share your journey of self-discovery, Joe. This is what we long to hear.
So, this has happened way more times than I think it should. I'll be having a conversation with a few people, like co-workers or something like this. This has happened several times over the years. Not enough that it's like every week, but like it's just like that's an odd thing that it keeps happening. Where somebody will use the word bougie.
Yeah.
And I've never actually looked up the word, but somebody else will say something like, I don't know that word. What does it mean? And I'll go, I don't know, but it sounds like it's slang for bourgeoisie.
Yeah.
And then the first person will go, no, it's not. It means it's very posh. It's something for people who, it's like for wealthy people. And I'm like,
That also sounds...
And so, and like, the thing is, I've never actually looked this up. So maybe I'm wrong that it's short for bourgeoisie, but it really sounds like, but every time I just let it drop. And I don't look it up, so I'm never sure enough to know whether to push back or not. And I'm like, am I the jerk here for letting us all live in ignorance? And it's like, you know what? I'm the jerk here for answering the question about a word someone else used. I should just let the person who used the word define it instead of hazarding my guess. Because I've hazarded this guess every time this has come up and every time I've been told I'm wrong. And, like, I'm clearly just being pig-headed about this. I need to just stop.
I mean, I am sure, for what it's worth, that it is a shortened form of bourgeoisie. However, that is not what it means in common vernacular. Words change. Root words don't, but words change. So I'm not saying you're a bad person. What I am saying is you are stubborn.
I am stubborn. I was about to say thanks, Erin McKean, but I realized that you don't have an Erin McKean over there. I mean, you do. She's Susie Dent, but you wouldn't have gotten it.
Again, I don't know who that is either, so...
Oh, okay. So, yeah, Erin McKean is, like, a public face... She's the public face of the American English Dictionary. And she'll, go to Google and give a talk to their designers about word choice. And it's like, at a certain point, yes, inflammable means something can come aflame. But at a certain point, we had to stop putting it on barrels because people kept smoking next to them and blowing themselves up. The language changes.
You have to make choices. And those choices are not always good ones. Oh, the person on Taskmaster. Got it. That makes sense. Also, hi, Cam.
Oh, wait,
Thank you.
Is Susie Dent on Taskmaster?
Oh, that's basically because she does countdown.
Yeah, she's on 8 out of 10 cats does countdown.
Anytime they said, could this be a proper interpretation of the rules? She's the one they asked.
Yeah, we asked Susie Dent, and she said, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Ghost Hunter, for resubbing for 19 months. It does not feel like I've been doing this for longer than 2 years now. It feels weird. I like it, but it feels weird.
But yeah, so my new rule for myself is, outside of the context of my job where I'm supposed to make dumb jokes and suggestions, if someone asks what something means and I'm not the one who said it in the first place, I should just shut up and let that person make their own argument.
Should make their own mistakes, Joe.
Yeah.
Because you know it's a mistake, and I know it's a mistake. But who's going to stop listening to you, Joe? Everyone else.
Oh, no.
And that feels like a fate worse than death for you.
Yeah.
If people
no.
stop listening to you.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I will say, like, now that this is my job, like, I really like going places where I don't have to talk or do stuff. Like, when, you know, like, I like being able to go to the local pinball bar. I'll just, you know, kind of like wave at the regulars while, you know, say hi while I'm getting my drinks or whatever, and then just go practice for a little bit by myself. Somebody might come over and be like, "Oh, hey, you want to play a few games?" Yeah, sure, you know. But like, I'm not like, "Oh, hey, I'm in this public place. I need to be the life of the party. I need to." Like, you know what? They're having a fun conversation over there. If it's about something interesting, I'll wander over between games. But for the most part, it's just like, I could just, you know, go and...
You could just not talk.
I've gotten better at being
great.
introverted now that I'm a professional extrovert, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'm not a professional extrovert. I'm a professional introvert doing things on a computer game with a very small niche group of people. So, you know, it's just the way you see your job. I see my job as not having to deal with people on the outside. Joe was right about bougie. You're right.
Yay!
But that doesn't mean you should say it.
But that doesn't mean I should say it. The point is I should not be doing that.
You should not be saying words.
I should not be suggesting definitions to things, even if you know, that's the thing though, is the more times people told me I was wrong, the more confident I was right, which is maybe not a good trait, but I'm like,
okay, no, that's something you need to do.
But I'm just like, what else could it possibly... It sounds like what people are describing is...
Yeah, but that's not a mindset you want to get into. If somebody tells me I'm wrong, I need to look at this and go, okay,
well,
why am I wrong?
So this is partially about stakes, though. Okay, so in a high-stakes environment, like in the workplace, if I'm designing a system and somebody's like, Joe, you're mistaken about this. This is going to break. I'm like, okay, which part of this am I mistaken about? I'm going to go immediately double check reference material or do some tests because none of us can afford to have this stuff fail, right? I don't want to be wrong in a context that matters like that. But in a context like this, where part of me is just like, sooner or later, this is going to happen, and somebody's going to go, yeah, that is what it means. Because that's all I wanted. Like, because
apparently not, Joe. Apparently
not enough to go look it up, because that would feel like weird. Like if I'm just looking something up to feel smug.
Have you considered just? You don't have to look it up to feel smug. You just need to look it up to make sure that you are right in your own mind.
Well, but there's no real. I mean, it seems like the way that the people were defining it, it was basically interchangeable with how people use bourgeoisie as slang anyway.
Yeah.
So I felt like the stakes for being wrong here were so low, and it was so similar to being right here, that it was functionally... I didn't really need to deal with. It's like, I'm not going to give myself extra work because people keep saying I'm wrong about something in such a way that it sounds like they're saying I was right. Like, that's...
I mean, you know, it depends on how much you need to be right, I guess.
Yeah.
And, you know... I like being right, so If somebody challenged me on that, I would go, "Are you sure? I'm just going to look it up for my own peace of mind," and then I would look it up because I have the internet in my pocket. I wouldn't tell them what I found out afterwards because I'm not that dick, you know.
Oh, see, that's the other thing though, is if I did go through the trouble of looking it up, I would feel compelled to share my results, which is one of the reasons I don't bother looking it up, because I'm like, as long as I'm still relatively uncertain about this, I'm not going to press the issue further. But if I know I'm right, then I feel like I have an obligation to be like, actually, we're both kind of right here. It's both, right? Like, letting them continue to tell people they're wrong who aren't wrong feels like being a bad friend in some way. Because what if they embarrass themselves in front of, like, in, like, a job interview or something, like, and I could have helped?
Joe, have I ever told you that you worry about issues that are not problems?
Constantly! Everybody tells me that.
Oh, good. Maybe start listening.
Yeah.
The moral I'm taking away from this is that Joe is always right, even when he's wrong. No, don't put that idea in Joe's head. That is a bad idea for Joe to start having.
Delg says, I too will find any excuse to be a pedant. The thing is, I know that guy, and he's not lying. Like,
Joe, it doesn't matter. You are also a pedant.
I agree. But that's why I didn't want to look it up, because I was just like, I know this about myself, that if I look it up, I won't be able to stop myself from being obnoxious about it. So it's better for me to just keep everybody in
ignorance. That's fine, you know.
I was already mitigating that damage because I knew it was an issue.
I don't know how to respond to this, but that's fine.
Oh, no, it's okay, Cleo. I'm just sharing my journey of self-discovery this week. I also
I appreciate that you analyze your actions, Joe. I do think you do overanalyze your actions. Yeah. And that leads you to some pretty heavy decision paralysis.
Well, I gotta say, I was really annoyed. I read this book this week. Well, I didn't read 100% of it, because it was like an academic work where I was pulling it for reference, and I needed like part of one chapter out of like 400 pages. Okay. And so I needed 5 pages. I actually ended up reading like about 130 of them, which is more than I should have, given the time factor. But the guy makes this really strong argument. Like, the whole point of the book is that he's proposing a new, slightly more specific reading of the translation, The Tree of the Knowledge of Good and Evil, which is a major factor in the Eden narrative in the Old Testament, or the Torah, basically the book of Genesis. And so I don't want to go into, like, I can't actually verify this guy's translations or anything because I don't speak Hebrew or whatever. But, like, you know, like, he goes through all of this work, hundreds of pages of work, to express this very specific point that one specific concept is so dangerous that God separated it out from all other human experience and said, if you learn about this, you're screwed. Like, I don't think you're ready for this. Let's just put it over here in this separate tree. And so I'm like, okay, that's an interesting premise or whatever. But basically it implies that, like, everything about how, like, people working in the Abrahamic tradition structure their governmental systems for, like, punishment and reward are intrinsically flawed and need to be re-examined from the ground up. It's like, basically, like, I'm just like reading this and I'm like, so So he realizes he's saying, burn it all down, we did it all wrong, and God's gonna be pissed at us, right? He realizes that. But, like, he just doesn't. He's just like, here's my argument about linguistics. I hope you enjoy Bible scholarship. Maybe I'll write more later. And I'm just like...
Meanwhile, Joe having existential crisis.
Yeah, I'm just like, you know, this is called, you know, just like the idea of this, I'm like, oh, you could write an entire science fiction series about interacting, because like there's this concept of like it's kind of one of those pop Christianity things, like what would it be like if we encountered a culture that hadn't fallen out in the stars, you know, like what if the Garden of Eden narrative wasn't universal? What if individual civilizations each had the opportunity to choose whether or not to eat from this tree of knowledge, and some of them did and some of them didn't? What would that mean when we meet them for the first time in the stars? And so with this very particular reading, that sort of science fiction scenario gets way more interesting to me. And so, like, I'm, like, thinking about it from that standpoint. I'm like, so I actually did tweet the guy last night. I was like, hey, I read your book you wrote a few
Is
years...
that what that tweet was about? Okay.
I read your book a few years back. Has anybody written about the practical implications of your scholarly work? Like, I know your job wasn't to explore the practical implications of this, but it seems like this has some pretty broad practical applications that, like I said, I don't know if this guy is correct or not. I'm not a biblical scholar or whatever, but I'm like, the idea that, like, what if he is so interesting, or what if he were is so interesting as a hypothetical even. I'm like, I want to read more of this. Where's the practical application of this? Queen Dark Lady says, you know, a good scientist always proposes further research and applications at the end of the paper. Well, that's the thing, though. He does propose further exploration beyond. He's like, I primarily focused on these specific, you know, chapters of these books for my research. You could extend this to other books of the Bible, blah, 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 blah. Because I'm like... Because, you know, I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, this might completely change how somebody reads the New Testament as well, in terms of, like, Jesus trying to get the train back on the tracks after we derailed it there. What does that look like? Like, it's a very interesting level of specificity. Sorry, Cleo, I know this is kind of out of your wheelhouse and I'm rambling, so I was trying to keep this vague.
I mean, like, it's not particularly out of my wheelhouse, it's just that we don't discuss religion, generally speaking.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, there's no assumption here that this guy is correct or incorrect. I'm not evangelizing.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's I understand. And I understand what etymology is, and I understand, like, how definitions change the meaning of things. So it's not technically outside my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
Isn't what against the toss talking about religion? Or if that's against the terms of service, then
that's pretty overly broad.
Consider I know and I follow several people who talk about that sort of stuff. So you know, and they've been on it on this app for quite a while.
Yeah.
Make their livings on it, so to speak.
Sky9 says, Joe, have you heard of the YouTube channel Blank? I think you might find it interesting. I really don't like to watch a lot of YouTube stuff that's popular because it will teach me about the algorithm. And I don't... Like, I'll watch stuff on YouTube that my friends make because I'm watching it because it's what my friends make. But for the most part, if something is popular on YouTube, there is an algorithmic factor to that, and the less I know about the algorithm, I feel like the better my work is. Like, there's that guy who does the glitter bomb package theft thing, And like
Yeah.
as I'm watching his video, my brain is mentally like looking at the pacing and structure and stuff, and I'm like, I see why this guy is popular. Like I also appreciate he's a great engineer and entertainer, but I'm like, I can't watch that without breaking down how the algorithm is parsing this video, and it's not healthy for me. It's just not good for me. I I yeah, Ink Curious says Joe's choosing not to eat from that particular tree of knowledge. I mean, you're not wrong. Like I look at that and I go, because like I love breaking down and manipulating systems. That's part of what made me good at taking people's old software and modernizing it in my previous jobs. But it's not. Uh, I I I don't want gaming the system to be what makes my YouTube channel. Like that's a different type of venture for me. But like because I know that about myself, that has that like kind of almost addictive quality to it. Like, oh, look at me, I'm outsmarting the algorithm. Like this is the same thing as me knowing that I shouldn't be like there's certain things like if I Google about whether or not I'm right about something in an argument, I I have to say, and that's whether if Google tells me I'm wrong, I'll have to say, you know what, you were right. Like I can't let it drop at that point if I look it up. If I look it up, I either need to say we were both right, we were both wrong, you were right, or I was right. Like I just yeah.
Oh, I know. I know. Tempted to get donuts? Go get donuts. One donut isn't going to kill your life. Unless you're an undisclosed diabetic, in which case, don't. Unless you've got the proper insulin to take care of it. That's the important part. Take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Actively resisting being successful for some definitions of successful. I don't think for Joe it's necessarily being successful, because Joe defines success in different ways to most people. So
yeah,
it's not resisting being successful, but it's wanting to be successful on his own terms.
yeah. I want to make something that has a lasting value. So like because the YouTube algorithm changes over time, you can tell when certain people made certain videos because of the pacing of the video. It's like that's how Google was rewarding people back in 2014 or whatever, right? Whereas if you go back and watch one of my 2014 videos, it's just me telling a story the way I want to tell stories. If you watch one of my modern videos, definitely I've evolved at my editing and storytelling techniques, but I'm not following what the algorithm is pushing in 2023. I'm doing what I want to do in 2023. Like, I feel like it makes my work more timeless. And maybe nobody's going to go back and watch it anyway, but in terms of what I want to make and what I want to accomplish.
I don't know about that. Yeah. I get regular comments from people rewatching my stuff. So people do go back and watch it.
Yeah.
It's just usually when we're in the middle of switching out seasons, or when I'm doing something on a different series.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, no, people do go back and watch it.
Yeah, and I don't want people to be like, "Oh, this is so cringe. It's 2016 YouTube." Right? Like
I mean, it's always going to be no matter how much you want to be original. I mean, like, I'm very much of the opinion nothing is ever original.
Oh, I agree with you on that. I definitely have my influences, but I feel like I don't want those influences to be 90% this algorithm.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely ignore the algorithm. I when I watch YouTube, I am very similar to you. I will take editing notes. But I don't think it's pretty much changed the way I do things necessarily. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just watch the YouTube that I enjoy, and if I take a tip from something I enjoy, that's an influence rather than this is what the algorithm wants. It might be what the algorithm wants, but I'm doing it because I enjoy it rather than anything else. Yes, we're weird. We've always been weird. We'll always be weird, and the Cleo digging fish will always be the font of all truth. That's a very long time ago and very far away now. That is over. The Cleophane digging fish is 10 years old.
Wow.
I know. I was with some, let's call them younger creators.
Mm-hmm.
And it's completely separate to Hermitcraft. It's a completely different community.
Mm-hmm.
That I was watching, and one of them was doing something for me, and one of their friends goes, "Oh my god, Zombie Cleo, I used to watch them 10 years ago."
Mm-hmm.
And I just went, "Oh my god, there are people who are now creators that used to watch my stuff." And it just made me feel like, because I was watching this separate creator,
Yeah.
and the things didn't match. It was just sort of like how universal. I didn't expect any of their people to watch my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how is it because the Hermitcraft's universal? Is it because of the queer thing and queer creators meshing together? I don't know, but it just made me feel weird. And I can't articulate why it made me feel weird. It wasn't about the age thing, because I've known that for a while. It was just the fact that my name is in a completely different community than I would have considered it.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. So, like, for me, I got started creatively in webcomics, and in webcomics, everybody who made comics grew up reading somebody else's comics or whatever. Even if, you know, like the first generation was reading people's newspaper comics or whatever, but like the idea of, and this is maybe one of the reasons I think it's so important to talk shop occasionally, because for the up and coming creators, it's important for them to hear about what building a business looks like and balancing creativity and life and work and, you know, like, so that community is very, I would say, nurturing in particular. So the idea that a particular person who's famous on YouTube now started off watching somebody else on YouTube, like, I mean, that just makes sense to me. I don't know. Like,
I wasn't on YouTube.
Wait, you weren't on YouTube?
Not at that point. No, I was in somebody else's. I was on Twitch, which is also a second degree of separation.
Okay, I mean, but still, like, if like I consider, I don't know, streaming and YouTubing to be kind of video production, like Let's Playing. It's not surprising to me that Let's Players were inspired by other Let's Players.
They're not Let's Players.
What are they?
They're artists.
Okay, so they're not playing Mine. Okay, I thought this was about Minecraft people. Sorry, I misunderstood.
No, this isn't about Minecraft people. This is about two completely separate communities. I just happened to be getting an artist to do something for me, and they were streaming it, and then the person in their community recognized me, and I was not considering, like, this, like I say, completely separate community recommended by somebody outside Minecraft. You know, it just.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you that is slightly less common, but like, I mean, like, I meet people in real life who have heard of me, so I don't know, like, I've
met people in real life who've heard of Mumbo.
Well, I think part of it too, though, is that your name isn't your channel name. Like,
yeah,
if your real world name was Zombie Cleo, and you know,
maybe.
but like for example, like one time at this was like 6 years ago at one of my jobs, the chief operating officer of the company I worked at was like, he was buying this new software. It was like backup software for the whole company, like corporate backup software. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna schedule a call for you tomorrow with Joe Hills, our tech guy, and he'll get everything hooked up. And the guy goes, wait, you're from Nashville, right? And this chief operating officer's like, yeah. So wait, Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee, like the YouTube Joe Hills. And the chief operating officer's like, yes. Like, because this happens. It doesn't happen 100% of the time, but like it happens just enough, right? You know, that it's
Right, yeah.
You know, it's not surprising. It's just like, oh, okay. I didn't know it was going to happen in this context today, but
Yeah.
like, I mean, you know, even 6 years ago, like, you know, with the stuff we were doing with Zisto and Pause for Race for Wool, like that, we were kind of more famous then than we are now. Even though we might have more subscribers, proportionally, the number of people watching us that were Minecraft fans, you know,
Yeah.
like,
yeah. I get you. It was just a surreal moment in my life. So, yeah.
That's fair.
Okay. Gaming communities expanded. Yeah, I think that's probably a lot of it. It's like it's been a while since I've thought about like this stuff 10 years ago, you know. And when it's like, oh, I know them, how do you know them? Well, 10 years ago, and it's like, oh god.
So
You might have met people that knew you but would just never recognize you. Thank God. As Joe can attest, I don't do well with meeting people in public.
I think you handled it pretty well on the whole.
Like, honestly, I think if it was, like, fans, I would have dealt with it better. But because it was you, and you are technically important.
What?
To me, as a person, it's a different scenario. And I don't mean that as fans not important. It's just sort of like, I know Joe on a personal level, so meeting him was much more agonizing than it would be meeting, like, fans, per se.
But, like, I'd be harder to disappoint, I guess. I feel like. Like, in terms...
I feel like you would be much easier to disappoint. Because that's how I deal with it.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, I don't know if this is helpful for you as you find yourself in similar situations later, but for me, if I have, like, an awkward interaction with, like, an author who I've never met or talked to, that's way more off-putting than, like, if I'm at a convention and I meet somebody for the first time and it's kind of weird and it's Zisto, right? Because I'm like, oh, I know Zisto. That interaction went kind of weird, but it's because we didn't know who each other were necessarily at first, or there were other people there that made it weird. Like, it's not gonna make me think less of Zisto. I'm just like, oh, that wasn't the optimal way to meet Zisto, right?
Right.
Like,
I feel like this is from experience.
This literally happened. I made a fool of myself in front of Zisto, but, like, also he didn't introduce himself to me. He just kept, like, kind of standing closer and closer to me, waiting for me to recognize him, and I didn't.
Because you don't look at people's pictures.
And, like, I kept, like, kind of, like, angling myself away from him, because I was just like, this guy's trying to, like, cut in our conversation. But, like, once I realized it was him, I was just like, oh, okay. But,
Yeah, no, that is pretty weird.
But, like,
lie, that's pretty weird.
The thing is, though, like, you have built up so much goodwill that even if our initial meeting was kind of awkward, I'd be like, well, Cleo just got off the train and she's flustered from, like traveling is always a thing. Like, I, you would have so much benefit of the doubt built up over the years that it'd be very,
I
no matter how badly you screwed up that first interaction, it would still be fine. Like, you could have tripped and knocked over a table and spilled drinks all over me, and I'd still be excited to see you.
That's really nice of you, Joe. That is not how my brain works, but I appreciate that. Dealt with it fairly well. Only one screaming belly thing. No, I had a mini. I did. I almost had a panic attack. Uh, and me and Joe didn't look at each other for like 15 minutes. Mostly because I wasn't looking at Joe because it felt weird.
Well, I didn't want to make you feel uncomfortable, so it's like, okay.
And I
we're not looking
appreciate
at each
that,
other.
and it
I get it.
worked.
That's fine. But like, also, like, we're so used to talking on the phone and stuff. It's like never look at you while I'm talking to you. So
That's true.
it's not like that was a huge change of pace. It's just like, but also, I'm in another country. There's a lot of stuff to look at. Like,
That's fair.
Yeah. Rex Verdi writes, meeting people is tough for me too. Going to Unplugged last year took a lot for me. Smaller meetups are a lot easier. Yeah, I gotta say, yeah, going to conventions, there's always like a bunch of people. It's like, oh man, I've been talking to these people online in these random discords, and now we're getting to hang out for the first time, and I'm like super excited. But it's kind of one of those things though where I give everyone in that situation. I don't know if you use the word grace in this way in England, but there's kind of a slang application of it here. I give everybody a little bit of extra grace because it's like we all know each other. We all talk all the time online, but usually in text or in like a voice chat. So everybody is going to be a little bit uncertain about the situation, and that's going to express itself in a different way, and I'm just not going to stress about it. I might still be stressed about it, but I'm not gonna, I'm gonna hold people less accountable, if that makes any sense. Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm just gonna be like, look, we're all feeling this out, and we all feel things out in different ways, and especially too when you've got people coming from all over the world to like PAX, like how somebody from New Zealand or Germany might handle an awkward situation might be completely different from how I would handle it. Plus, all people are different too, but like, there's different societal expectations. Like, just going into it and being like, okay, we're here. I'm excited to be here. Anybody want something to drink? Anybody want appetizers? Let's get stuff to put in our mouths so we don't have to stress about talking as much. Like,
but like I say, there is a difference between meeting you and meeting just like people often ask me if you have social anxiety, how could you be a teacher? And I'm like, it's different. Okay, there's like, teaching is not being with my social peers. And meeting Joe is different to meeting, say, I'm just trying to think of people that I have met that I talk to that I haven't met. No, my brain is blanking on somebody who I know that I don't really have. Pretty much every hermit is pretty much going to have the same reaction.
yeah.
But meeting you guys for the first time probably won't, with given exceptions. So yeah, based on how much I've actually talked to them. But Canada Russia tipped $5 and said, "Hope you feel the sympathy from every socially awkward introvert on the planet." Yeah, it's yes, Pushed. I would have problems meeting you in real life too.
Oh no,
it's not good. You'd still have to interact with Joe on a regular basis. Yeah, I could just ban everyone else who I met. It's like, oh, ban. Can't ban Joe.
I mean, you can. I'll just still be at Hermitcraft meetings.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
Teaching also has much more proscribed social interaction template. It's much more structured interaction than a rando. Yeah, and the power dynamic is different. Like teaching, like being in any job, I go into job mode. I don't really socialize with people outside the job. I get one or two people who I would consider work friends, but even then, I don't really go outside of work with them because it's like it's not how I want to spend my time because I'm not a going out really person. I'm a go and doer. I'm not a going outer sort of thing. So it's weird. Some manner of social anxiety and worked as a cashier and enjoyed it. That's just your job personality. Yeah, job personality and people personality. Right, it's gone to the point where, with Hermitcraft, we are friends. These are just not the people that I do my job with. You know? And that makes it different once again.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and I really do think that, this is not necessarily going to make your anxiety go away because that's not how anxiety works. But I really do think that I'm not alone in believing that even if you were a little bit awkward on first meeting, like the other hermits would probably feel the same way. Like, oh, Cleo's a little nervous about meeting us because that's the sort of person she is. Like, like I said, even if you botched it.
If I cried in front of the hermits, then, they know what I'm like.
I mean, honestly, like, it's one of those things. Like, yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna hold it against you. I don't think anybody's gonna think less of you because you get stressed out in these sorts of situations. Like,
no, I think that's probably right.
Like everybody knows that you're a great person, and
it's debatable. That's a
okay,
joke,
well,
Jay.
you know what? Okay, you know what I will say? You know what I will say then?
Oh,
they
God.
know better than to tell me about it.
Yeah, no,
if they're pissed at you and they're not bringing it to me. If somebody's disappointed in Cleo, they do not tell me. There is nobody on my radar who is disappointed with you or upset in any way at any time, like ever.
I am 100% sure that that's not true, but I will take it.
Well, like I said, I'm not saying that I can't prove that it never happens, but I can say if it does happen, they don't tell me.
No. However, they will tell me about you.
Yeah. Apparently.
That's true. Oh. Hermitcraft is weird. I just want to say that now. Like, being in business with people that you consider your friends is weird. And there is a whole social dynamic to the fact that what we do collectively, but profit off separately. It's a weird thing. And, like, everybody knows things, and it's just sort of like, we're not going to say that. We're not going to say it. We all know, but we're not going to acknowledge it out loud. So,
I just think I know what you're talking about.
Oh, it's I don't want to go into particularly too much Hermitcraft stuff, but it's a case it's a case of when it specifically comes to money, we just keep absolutely quiet from each other. We don't talk about the money side of things at all because it's irrelevant. So
it's irrelevant to how we work as a group, but it's not irrelevant to how I cover my expenses this month. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hills and YouTube Super Chat.
I agree. Joe making money is not irrelevant to me or Joe.
We're doing rotational tips today, which is why me being at 0 means you could be the first tipper of the stream if you jump in now. Oh yeah, I need to make sure I hold my phone outside of the camera when I'm checking the PayPal.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I've had this weird thing where, like, 1 in 20 tips won't show up on the computer, but it shows up on the phone. So the money goes through, but I don't know to thank the people, so I have to keep the phone open, too, now.
Wonderful segue. Joe needs to get them in, so he finds ways.
I don't always need to get them in. I do need to get them in when we haven't rotated at all, and we're an hour into the stream.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Hey, thanks, Kara K, for the 11, who says, let's tilt Joe. Woo! So we're going to go ahead and rotate that camera 11 degrees now. Let's open
Joe tilts himself. Joe gets tilted himself.
Mm-hmm.
But also, yes, you probably should tilt Joe. It's just polite. It's just polite.
It is polite.
I feel like bringing money into discussions could lead to resentment.
Well, but
I mean, that's part...
But also, it's not just about resentment. It's about creativity. It's just like if somebody was like, "Oh, hey, what if? I bet we'd make more money if we did a prank war." That's not how we think about. That's not how we want to run our creative venture, right?
Enterprise.
Yeah, like that's, we ask, like, okay, how can we have more fun? Because if we generally find ways to get paid for having fun and doing things we want to do, then we'll be encouraged to keep having fun and doing things we want to do. It's the same thing as chasing the algorithm. Literally, it's if we're trying to optimize around making money, we're optimizing around the algorithm, and that's not optimizing around creativity or fun. That's the wrong approach. Hey, Chloe the Great and Powerful, thank you for the 7, who writes, I can always count on you for incredibly smooth transitions into tip requests. Well, one day I'll mix it up. I'll just be like, Cleo, the other day I was out shopping for soap, and by the way, tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hills and YouTube Super Chat.
Yeah, like... We have, in our group, been very staunchly against collectivizing money because having that discussion is such a difficult thing and we don't want to do it. And
thank you, Raven, for tipping 5. Yeah. That's going to get me to 22 degrees. Yeah.
Being a fan of Hermit Cruyff is like, sorry if this is weird, you're a massive influence on my life and I'm eternally grateful to and occasionally chuck £5 at you. And I appreciate that £5, but I'm more appreciative that I can actually have an impact on your life, because like so many people say that to me, and it's just sort of like, I believe you, but it's also kind of alien, because it's just sort of like,
really, it seems like as a teacher you'd be used to making an impact on people's lives, like.
But that's the thing, because I'm a teacher, my brain is like, making an impact on your life is like being personal with you and like knowing about you and your goals. And a lot of these people that say this is just sort of like, I have never heard you from my, like, Canna Russia I know quite well because like they say, they occasionally throw money at me and like, and tell me stuff in the tip messages. But when somebody who I've never seen in my comments before, and it's their first comment, it says, "You've helped me so much." My brain goes, "How? I just make videos."
Oh, see, that's weird because, like, in my old job, like, I'm designing systems that a bunch of strangers at a company that I don't personally know will interact with daily, possibly. And if I do a good or bad job, will directly impact how good or how stressful their days are. So, like, if I was in a meeting with somebody and they're like, and I was like, yeah, I'm Joe, I built this thing. And they're like, oh my God, this is like the only thing that doesn't suck. Thank you. Part of it is, though, that I went into it asking myself, what does the end user need? because I approached all work from the point of view of I don't want to be here and I hate it when my tools suck. How can I make these people who probably don't want to be at their jobs either have at least good tools to get their job done? Right?
I mean, that's reasonable.
And so, like, it wouldn't necessarily... I guess I'm used to the idea that if I do something right, it'll impact people in a positive way. Without
I think
knowing
that's
them.
also a part of the. It's also a part of the teaching thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I was one of those. I was one of those people that kids. I don't know how to put this. Let's say they opened up to, and let's finish by saying is I had to put in so many reports to the higher ups, and to get child services involved.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, and so it's and like the way that it's set up. Because I wasn't a higher up, I wasn't allowed to know how things were going. So I had these children telling me, well, this has happened and this has happened and this has happened, and what's going on with that. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not allowed to know. I'm here for you to talk to as much as you need, but I actually, like, I can only know what you're telling me.
Yeah.
And they were just like, well, that sucks. Why aren't you involved in like? And I'm just like, I don't want to be involved in the child services aspect.
Yeah.
Because that will make me break down, and did multiple times when kids told me stuff. But also, it was a case of you got another report, another one. And they're like, yeah, it's Friday. I don't make choices about this.
Yeah, that's just what
It's just sort of like, dear God.
Yeah. Real
I have
quick,
a friend who's a social worker. Yeah.
I got another tip rolling in from Marguerite for 34, who says, thanks for being a voice in the background while I work for things on my internship. Fun fact, I learned there are over 20 people at my company I share a first name with, which is over 20 people more than I was expecting. That's got to be a pretty big company for 30 people to be called Marguerite. Wow. Okay, so let's see.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, so if we're adding 34 to 22, that's going to be 56 at the end, if I'm doing my math right here. So let's go ahead and rotate the camera.
And thank you, Clumily, for the $20 saying a little tip, because I had leftover budget for my trip to Specsavers. Thank you, and that will be spent on my trip to Specsavers, no doubt.
I saw these really cool glasses the other day that are, my fiance says they're too big for my face, but like, they basically look like safety glasses, but they're partially chroma green frame and partially transparent frame. They look so dorky, but like would be hilarious on stream. But yeah, I priced it out with my prescription is so terrible that even though the frames were like $100 off, it would still be $600 for the glasses. So I was like, nope, I can't.
Glasses.
Not getting those. Yeah, eyeglasses. My eyes are really bad.
My eyes are pretty bad, and I've got hang on. I'm short-sighted in this eye, and I'm long-sighted in this eye.
Also, I got a few more tips rolling in. NJ tips 5 and says, chat should see you more askew. Lol, coffee. Also, I'm feeling better since we last spoke, in case you're wondering. Awesome, glad to hear it, NJ. Like, I don't want to sound like a terrible friend, but honestly, based on the situation you described and where you were in processing it, I was kind of assuming you would be. It seemed like you were already clawing your way. You were on a positive vector. So I'm glad for the confirmation that I didn't misread that. But
I'm glad for the confirmation, because it would have made me feel like a bad friend. If
I would be a really bad friend if I was like, wow, that sucks for NJ, but it sounds like she's really got this under control and she's taking positive steps, and I think it's gonna be fine. And it's just like, nope, I was terribly wrong. But no, I my point is I had every confidence in you based on what you told me. And then we got another 14 rolling in from Sandra, who says, oh no, Joe's getting tilted. That's bringing me up to 75. Woo! Do. Is the camera
Wonky-eyed
locked in
too.
place? No, it's not. Okay.
Love how you describe that, Badger. Just wonky-eyed. Buying glasses online tends to be so much cheaper, at least. Yeah, I like. Say no to the green frames you don't like. I do like green frames. My green frames are better, but they're kind of scratched now. But yeah, I got buy one get one free. These were 60 quid with lenses, so I got 2 pairs. So I've got sunglasses and these glasses for like 120 quid for 4 pairs. You need to get your eyes done in the UK next time you're over, Joe.
Yeah, clearly. Mr. Phillips tips 2 and says a Jefferson to rotate slightly more. So here we go, bringing it up to 77%.
What's a Jefferson?
A $2 bill.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a good price. I mean, like, Specsavers is
Did I open the wrong machine?
I don't know, probably.
Oh wait. No, this looks
That's just standard Specsavers price. That wasn't Joe who called it a Jefferson. That was the
yeah, the person
thing.
tipping. Okay,
Yeah.
no, memory lane is a pun because memory lane is a bowling lane. Okay, because yeah, I was like the next one I was gonna do or 2 later is strikes and spares. Did I open that by accident?
Thank you, Arca, for resubbing for 26 months. That's really appreciated. And thank you, ZB, for tipping 40 quid. It's very much appreciated. Thank you so much. And thank you for paying for another pair of glasses for me. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, Delg says, Joe, I know you said your lenses are bad, but a lot of online retailers here have frames well under 100. Might be worth looking into. No, the problem is that the lenses, if I can get the lenses cheaper technically. If I don't, there's like a special material they can make them out of, so they weigh half as much. If I got the normal weight, basically the frames would be continuously falling off my face, unless I had one of those like librarian, like I basically need to wear like a sports band holding, like my lenses are too heavy with the normal optics to wear, and so then I have to pay like, so basically the lenses are like hundreds of dollars, which is why I don't get new glasses other than like more than every 4 or 5 years.
I saw a TikTok with somebody who, oh yeah, I was just about to like, they ordered their glasses online, and they forgot to thin the lenses. They forgot to shave them down. They were like this thick, like a good inch. It was great.
Yeah,
just
no.
like,
Yeah, Kara K says the thing I'm describing is called ultra high index glass. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I don't buy them very often, so I don't remember. But yeah, I definitely I saw those frames and I was like, oh, those are so amazing. Those would be amazing for the show. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I don't do this. Even with the frames heavily discounted, it's still a lot. So I don't know, but yeah, that's one of those like, oh, it'd be fun to have these. It's not. My current glasses are fine.
yeah. I keep on getting notices saying you're due for a checkup, and I'm like, you really want me to go every year? I don't feel like my eyes change that much.
No, I don't think that's necessary. Like, especially like at our age, like my eyes were changing a lot when I was a kid, but like they kind of hit a certain point of decay and then stabilized. Where my prescription's been the same for the last like 12 years now.
Yeah.
I get new glasses occasionally because the old ones are literally falling apart.
Makes sense to me. They're trying to keep an eye on medical conditions, which do run in my family, but don't hit until at least like 70 years old. So, you're high risk for glaucoma. I am at high risk for glaucoma, but like I say, like 70 years old is when it keeps on hitting my family. So I don't know. Like, oh, I know why they want to convince me to buy new glasses.
Why?
I know what they want.
Oh, because they want you to post pictures of them.
What? No.
No. What do they want?
They want me to buy new glasses, Joe. Your prescription has changed a fraction of a millimeter.
Oh! You're saying you know why the glasses company wants you to buy new glasses. I thought you were saying why the chat wants you to buy new glasses. Sorry, I misread.
The chat doesn't want me to buy new glasses.
Okay.
The chat have said my glasses are pretty cute because they are.
Yeah, I was gonna say thank you to Michael for tipping 25. That brings us to 102 degrees angular here. Michael says, as somebody with a negative 12.5 prescription, I know you're paying with glasses. Yeah, I don't know what my prescription is offhand, because once again, I only go do it every, like, 4 to 6 years. It's not a regular purchase for me. I just happened to walk past a glasses store the other day when I was out shopping for gifts for my mom. Oh, I got a great story about that. So I know Mother's Day is earlier in England, right? But
I'll be honest, Joe. I don't follow Mother's Day anymore.
That's fair. We can change the subject if that's...
No. I'm not sensitive about it. It's just a case of like, it got brought up in my stream last time, and I said I don't pay any attention to Mother's Day anymore, and people were just like, what? Why? And then I'm just like, oh, now I have to explain that my mother is no longer with us.
Yeah.
And then there's no like, and I'm fine, but there's no way you can't sound not callous about saying I'm all right. Like,
yeah,
it's fine. It was just weird. So anyway, tell me your story, Joe.
Anyway, so we go to the my sister and I are out shopping for a Mother's Day gift. Not Quinn, but my other sister, who I don't think you know.
I don't.
And yeah, she's the youngest and I'm the oldest, so there's like a 17-year age gap. Which has been a weird point of contention when we talk about cultural stuff. And my sister will be like, well, your generation... I'm like, we're literally the same generation. We have the same parents. Like, that's... But, anyway, so we're out shopping, trying to find something nice for my mom, and we go into this gift shop, and we're looking, and it's like there's a bunch of, like, nice glassware and stuff, but, like, my parents have been, like... They've been married for, like, 37, 38 years now. They have everything they could possibly need in terms of, like, housewares and stuff. And, you know, so the shop lady comes up and is like, hey, you know, what are you doing? Well, we're shopping for something for our mom. And the lady goes, does she like flowers? And my sister just looks at her and with a complete, like, Wednesday Addams deadpan goes, she finds flowers overstimulating. And the shop lady is just like, how does she feel about pictures of flowers? We have some towels with some flowers on them. And my sister's just like, that would be much better. Like, oh, I was like, I was just trying not, like.
I would just die. I would just absolutely wet myself and die in that store.
I was trying not to burst out cackling, and like, I mean, my sister wasn't like lying. My mom doesn't like she doesn't like the she doesn't like any sort of like strong scents in the house. She does find it overstimulating, but like just she finds them overstimulating. It's just like
bloody surreal.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a fun shopping trip.
Mimi has resubscribed for 9 months. Thank you very much. It's very much appreciated.
Oh, boy.
She finds them overstimulating. I get it. I'm the same about father. Oh, having that. Oh, you love having that conversation with people. Like the weirdest, like I'm going back to the mother death thing. Like the weirdest thing was I left my job to take care of my mum, but she died like a week later.
Yeah.
Which was interesting for YouTube because it's like I quit my job, then nothing.
Yeah.
For weeks, and it was just like okay. But I went back to my job to like say goodbye to the kids that I'd left behind because I left like 3 weeks early from school. And then one of the heads says, "Oh, how's your mum?" I said, "Oh, she died." And she's like, "You can't say that." And I'm like, "What?"
You can't just tell us that she died. You have to really build up to it.
You have to say she passed away. And I'm like, "You didn't know her. I'm her kid."
Yeah.
I can say whatever I like. I'm not going to wash it up with like, "Oh, she passed on.
Yeah.
She's on the other side now."
The veil of Plato's cave has been parted.
It was just surreal. It's like, you can't say that. Why? It's my mum.
Yep. Yep, she's stampeding down the Rainbow Bridge to Valhalla.
It's just sort of like, what do you want me? Do you want me to sugarcoat it for you?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah, you don't get to decide how upset I am about telling you this.
Yeah, and I wasn't particularly because I know it had been like a couple of weeks since that moment, but it was a case of I was like because she she'd been sick for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Like all my grieving had been done like beforehand. I think I cried once after that, bar the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at least so she kicked the bucket. I think my mum would have been prouder if I did. If I had said that to someone, my mum would have found that quite funny.
She kicked the bouquet.
She kicked the bouquet.
Bucket.
She is an ex-mother. It was surreal. It was just all like, you can't say that. Yes, I can. But the weird part was this person, because they were like the deputy head.
Yeah.
They assumed that they still had power over me. You can't say that. I'm like, yes. She was shocked that I answered her back.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of like, just because I wouldn't do it when I was here as a teacher, I'm not here as a teacher anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to say goodbye to the kids. I am now a civilian. Screw you. I did my time. You can't make me. Yeah, Sangrid Lullaby, I get it. Like, my family has, on average, I would say we have a darker humour about death than most people. So, it's not uncommon for us to say stuff like this, so... But I was half convinced they didn't believe she was really sick because it had been going on such a long time.
Yeah.
And she got better and she got sick and then she got worse and then she got better and it was like a whole thing.
Yeah. Well, that's always really hard on everybody.
Yeah. And because I kept on having to say, "Oh no, she's doing well." No, she's gone back. She's gone back down, and it was just sort of like, because my actual boss, the actual head, was a really nice guy, and I talked about him with it like a bit. It was just sort of like, it was just something that was genuinely known that was what was going on with me and what my deal was. And like, this person is just sort of like, she was a nice person when she was getting her way.
Oh, that's a very specific kind of person.
Yeah. And I'm very much, I don't rock boats unless some real harm is being done to someone else. So I just blank faced it, and I was able to just, you know, keep calm. But yeah. She was the only person that I had problems with in that last school I was at. And she was only there for like 6 months before I left. So it's like, yeah. They're no longer complaining about being cold. My mum was always hot. Like, she was always roasting. There's a joke I could make there that is very inappropriate, and I don't think I should. It's fine. It's normal. I'm normal, relatively speaking.
Yeah, when we're speaking about your relatives, it's always normal.
It's fine. Yeah, I know, but it triggers some people when I make those jokes, so I try not to.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I was informed by my insurance company that my requested epitaph was unlikely to be honoured. Personally, I think pining for the fjords was perfectly reasonable.
Oh, in terms of something, this is a super tenuous transition.
That's fine. We can go for
in terms of something
cool.
that I wasn't sure if I should say this morning. The first thing I saw when I woke up this morning, like my alarm goes off, and I'm like, let me check the Hermitcraft Discord to see if there's anything exciting going on.
I saw your tweet!
And I saw Doc go, hey, is the server backed up? And I'm like, okay, either something stupid is about to happen or something stupid already happened. And I'm posting a drawing to your chat because I already posted it to mine. Somebody drew this scenario of Doc being like, we backed up with his fingers pushed together. I just wanted to share that. Well, since we're doing a creative stream, that was Yukon Error who made that drawing. It's very cute.
Let me see the thing.
I posted it.
I know. I'm trying to get technology to let me copy it. It's fine. Okay, I'm about to look at this thing that you have just shown me. Paste and go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you're not wrong. It's something's about to go wrong or something has gone wrong.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't have time to find out which. I gotta go make my kid lunch. But, like, whatever it is, it's something.
It's something, and I don't know what it is.
Billy Joel's house is on sale. I mean, for sale. It's not on sale. It's not like they marked it down.
What? What's on sale? What?
Billy Joel's house.
Oh, okay.
It's $49 million, so I don't think I can get it.
I used to live next door to a famous person. I'm not going to say who.
Yeah, I was going to say that might make it kind of easy to find out who you are. So.
But they were a pop star when I was like little in the UK. So, and I didn't grow up in a particularly I didn't grow up in a posh area at all. Yeah. It was just weird. They also went to my high school, so it was sort of like local for them.
So I'm gonna have to look through these Zillow Gone Wild photos of Billy Joel's house later, but apparently there's a 20,000 square foot main house on 26 acres, which also has a 3-bedroom beach house with 2,000 feet of waterfront, a 3-bedroom guest apartment, a 5-bedroom guest house with an additional 3-bedroom guest apartment, a bowling alley, indoor pool, and helipad.
Now you see,
it's a 2-lane bowling alley. What?
Well, why would you have just one, Joe?
Oh my gosh, he lined the bowling alley with all of his golden records. He's just like, look at how many golden records I have. I'm gonna run them down the entire bowling lane. Like on the walls, not like on the wood on the floor, but like.
I mean, I thought it was on the walls, but now that you said it, I would really like to see them on inlaid in the floor.
It looks like something out of Animal Crossing. It's just like, here's our gold record wallpaper. Oh my gosh. Queen Dark Lady says, that's not a house, that's a resort. Yeah.
You'd show those off too. I mean, I've got my play button that's out, but like, you show off your achievements, which is why I'm doing the museum. Speaking of which, video's just gone out. Don't go anywhere. I mean, you can, but you know, go watch that after this. It's about the museum.
Ooh.
Which took very long time. Much longer than I was anticipating.
Yeah, I heard you mention in the Hermitcraft group chat that you had found some forgeries in there.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah. Is that addressed in the video?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not giving you any attention that you don't deserve.
Fine. Well, then my audience has no reason to go watch that. If there's one URL you're going to navigate to instead of this Twitch stream, it's paypal.me/JoeHills. Because I'm not being rewarded for my efforts creatively over here.
No.
I need that financial.
Let me put it like this. You don't own that Stream Torch anymore, so it's nothing to do with you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got other plans for it.
Gotcha.
My bullet journal looks so good. I know, right? It's great.
I really hoped that you would discover that on camera. That was I tried my best to make sure you didn't find out about that beforehand. So
I found out about it not on camera.
Ah.
Because I was collecting things off the walls and I looked at it and I went, of course.
I tried.
You did. However, next time, if you want me to find stuff on camera, you can just go. You might want to look at your items again.
Well, honestly, I didn't know that you were going to move the stuff, so I was hoping that it would be the sort of thing you would just discover in, like, months. Or, like, I was going for a slow burn there.
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine, but now it's I have to deal with forgeries another way.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
You don't have to tell me how. I will find out when I'm punished.
I don't think it's you that's going to end up punished, to be fair.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
They should make YouTube play buttons in Hermitcraft for hermits that have them.
I have a YouTube play button.
Yeah, I don't need it in you mean in Minecraft?
Like, it's literally right here. Like, if you want to see what the ring light looks like, there's the ring light, there's the camera. Ooh, I got a ceiling fan.
Mine's there. Oh, there is the Fallout helmet that I have up on my wall. Haha!
Woo!
No one needs to flex in Hermitcraft. We all know what each other is capable of.
Yeah, we need to flex IRL. Check out these muscles. Grrr.
Joe, I know you don't have any muscle.
I'm just having fun.
That helmet is dope. It is. It's really cool. It is wearable, and there is a voice changer in it, but I haven't got the batteries in.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's really claustrophobic, but you can wear it.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Just to Fallout nerd things. According to the fan artist, Cleo is a lot more muscled than Joe. I mean, I think that's because I've said to the fan artist that I do not mind being portrayed with a bigger body type. You know, that sort of stuff doesn't bother me. So, you know, they've I enjoy Buff Cleo. Buff Cleo is hilarious to me. But yeah. And I think they use you as a reference for your art usually.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but they don't know what I look like, so ooh, I'm spooky. But they also make me 8 foot tall, which I guarantee I am not 8 foot tall. Height-wise? Joe, but a lot of rainbow check marks. Yeah, there is that part to it as well.
Okay. Okay, so I'm switching to my second pinball machine design of the morning.
Be hilarious to see Cleo fan art that's entirely wild and made up, but the hands are 100% accurate to your love. They're just hands. They're just hands.
They're just innocent hands. Just
innocent
normal hands. They're just normal hermits. Just innocent hermits. Okay. Bum 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 ba da. Do 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 do
Do do do do do. I think a height at times due to a comment about one point. Andre the Giant proportions. Yeah, some people did pick up on the I did mention I like Andre the Giant Cleo. It's freaking hilarious.
Uh-huh.
It makes me laugh. It's just sort of like, yeah, no, I'm massive. Right. Shifty Pumpkin tip $20. I'll give you a hand, but you have plenty already. I've got 2.
We're gonna start seeing a lot of like King Kong Cleos, where Cleo's climbing the Empire State Building, holding Cub or something. Like, there'll be a ZF copter flying around.
I assume you had more than 2. Why? Just because I'm a zombie doesn't mean I'm greedy.
No. Oh, climbing Hot Guy Tower instead of the Empire State Building. Oh, that's good Devonian dreams.
Oh, don't go into Hot Guy Tower with sounds on.
Is there sound?
It's just he's it's not deliberate.
Oh, does he have like
just a lot of?
Does he have a bunch of shulkers or something in there?
It's got a lot of dispensers going off, things cycling through.
Oh yeah,
I also found a lot of Hot Guy stuff from the King storyline that I have just taken, and I'm gonna sell because he's about to open Hot Guy Tower to sell stuff.
It's going in the gift shop of your shop.
It's gonna go in the gift shop. It's gonna annoy him so much. Oh, actually, it won't annoy him at all.
No.
But he'll
be fine. He's an adult.
I mean, as much as Scar as any as ever.
As much as Scar is ever fine.
Yeah, Hot Guy shop. Bo's in the gift shop. Absolutely, that's the plan.
Bo's in the gift shop.
Like, I went to all the King storyline stuff, and I can't believe how much stuff was left behind there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's just like, there's still, like, buckets of lava.
I mean, the hermits are not good at cleaning things up. Like,
no, they're not. They're not.
Like, we do what we need to do, and then we're like, okay, next problem. I'm out.
I just need to I need to gather like hundreds and thousands of resources. What do you mean they're all still up at the King's location and no one's ever gone back?
There's
Okay.
8,000 buckets or shulkers of sand here. What?
There's hundreds of buckets of lava over there. There's lots of glowstone. It's just like a cornucopia.
I believe
It's not like you just went to the King's different server immediately after the King storyline. I mean, that's true as well.
Yeah, like we didn't have a lot of time to break everything down. Break down, break down.
I have plenty of those, Jodo. It's fun.
Yeah. Hey, we got a tip rolling in. Let's see who it's from. Shifty Pumpkin says for the laughs, but mostly for the flex. And tips 20. So thank you, Shifty Pumpkin.
Thank you, Shifty. I appreciate you.
Ooh, me too.
I need to figure out.
I
need to figure out. Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say I was a little disappointed that I did the flex and nobody was even just like weird flex, but okay. Like literally nobody in all three chats acknowledged it, and I was like, okay, well I guess that sort of physical humor isn't appreciated here. I'll mark that down in my notes. But it was appreciated for $20, so I'm that's a vindication. Thank you, Shifty Pumpkin. I appreciate it.
Mm.
It's one of those things like where you think everybody forgot your birthday and then there's a surprise party. Like...
I've never had a surprise party.
No,
for obvious reasons. I think you would.
I haven't either. Because for one thing, I'm really obnoxious, and like I know, and so like if people were like, "Oh, hey, Joe, we're gonna," like the problem, like basically would be like, I would just make other plans. I would bother everybody. And everybody's like, oh, no, I'm busy that night. Sorry, I got something else to do. I'd be like, okay, cool. And then I'd just go make my own plans, and then they wouldn't be able to reach me. And
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I'm not a good person.
Well, somebody will come over to me and say, hey, no one's done anything about you. How about we go out? And I'm going, nah, I don't feel like it. That's what had happened with me. It's like, I'd rather stay in.
Yeah.
And they go, but we could go to the pub. Or we could just stay here and watch TV. Because I hate the pub. Actually, I don't hate the pub. I hate clubs. There's a difference.
Yeah. I don't like clubs. Like, because they're too loud. I'm a very loud person. But then people... Like, if I can't hear the people I'm talking to, I end up in situations where people can hear me, but I can't hear them.
Yeah?
And I'm like...
I believe that.
So that's not a good conversation. I'm like, you gotta project! And they're like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like... And, like, we'll leave...
Use your acting training! Project from the diaphragm!
Yeah, and then we'll leave, and I'll be like, that place was way too loud. And they're like, no, it wasn't. I could hear you fine. And I'm like... Yeah, because I was projecting and you were whispering practically. Oh my god. Like, I don't know how to explain to you. You have to talk louder in a loud place. And so I'm going to stop going to loud places with you. Like. But yeah, it feels like if people assume that if they can hear me, I can hear them. And that's.
No. Going out at no notice? No, thank you. Absolutely. If somebody's coming to me at like 8 o'clock at night and says, we're going out. No, we're not. You're going out. I'm staying here.
Yeah.
If you want me to go out, make plans. And I will follow them and I'll hate it until the moment I'm out. Once I'm out, I'm fine. I don't want to be there. Genuinely speaking.
Yeah. Oh, I was talking to somebody that I'm looking at splitting a room with for PAX Unplugged, because I'm trying to figure out, like, that's the first big convention that's like far enough after we're hoping to ship the card games that even if there's some delay, I'm like certain, like, okay, even if there's some delay, the cards will still be in people's hands and we can play them together, or, by then.
Yeah.
Because it's like December 1st through 3rd, so that's plenty of buffer time. I can be very confident about that. But also, because we're not selling anything at the convention, there's no way. It's not like I'm going there and I'm like, maybe the trip will pay for itself. Maybe I'll break even. I'm just like, okay, who do I know that I trust enough to stay in a room with that will like let me sleep on their floor? So it's like I know a couple people that I've known for a few years, and I'm like, hey, can I bring my air mattress and just crash on your floor for like a third of the hotel cost? Because like I can't afford the whole hotel room, right? And I'm like, they're like, okay, well, we obviously we might not all be coming in at the same time. Like, are you the sort of person, like, are you a good sleeper, or is that going to be something we need to plan around? And I'm like, I am continuously so overtired that I can basically go out with my friends and take a nap anywhere. I went to an amphitheater concert where we like had like a picnic blanket on a hill for Tenacious D. And it was a great concert, but there was a point about an hour in where I was like, I'm not gonna be able to enjoy the finale if I don't take a nap for like 20 minutes. And I just laid down on the blanket and passed out for 20 minutes in the middle of a Tenacious D concert. And,
That's pretty impressive.
and then I got back up and I enjoyed the end of the concert. And my friends were like, Joe, did you really just take a nap? And I'm like, yes. you literally saw me do it. I wasn't pretending to take a nap as a joke, but like we had the blanket and it just made sense. It's like,
I mean, sure, why not?
yeah, so like, yeah, that's the thing is like my friends can try and drag me out, but I can't promise I'll stay conscious. Like,
Yeah, no, that's
if I say, guys, I'm too tired to go out, it's one of the, like, I'll say, like, are we going somewhere far away? Can I sleep in the car while you drive on the way there? Or, like, in that case, I'll be fine. But, like, if I don't get a nap in, like, it's gonna be bad. NJ, no, I'm not stuck for the room. NJ says, if you're really stuck, we can talk with a friend. No. I've got two people that they're already getting a room together, and they're happy to let me sleep on their floor to save part of the room cost for themselves. So we're still trying to lock down all the details, but no, I've got a very strong lead. Thank you, though, for the offer.
That was me during my senior year of high school. I'd fall asleep everywhere, especially the floor of friends' rooms, or the group hang out talking loudly.
Yeah.
My mum used to tell me that I could sleep. I couldn't sleep anywhere, but so long as I was either in her arms or in my crib, I could sleep without a problem. And she says, at one point we were sitting next to speakers and you managed to fall asleep because you were in my arms.
Aww.
And I'm just like, not a lot's changed, to be honest. I can sleep anywhere. I know they're coffee beans, but I keep seeing little sock puppet hand faces. Yeah, no, I can see that. Maybe it'll help when they're coloured in a little bit. Can't colour them in too much because this is where I'm going to write my notes for the week. Used to sink as a pillow. Oof. That doesn't feel comfortable.
No.
Parents would vacuum while I was slept. Now I can't wake up to alarms. I have no problems waking up to alarms. I mean, my issue is I wake up to everything, but I just fall back asleep. So
Yeah, I have to be really tired to sleep through an alarm, but it has happened occasionally, and that's usually one of those like, oh no, I'm really overextended type of thing.
yeah.
Like that's bad when I'm sleeping through alarms.
Having insomnia is funny. I would say not, just in general. Um, I have a sleep pattern that is like I am effectively nocturnal. I I can wake up during like the early morning hours like Joe does. But my body doesn't like it. My body would rather be asleep until like midday and go to sleep at like 4 a.m. Can't do that because that's not how society works.
Yeah.
So I have to constantly fight my body's desire to just sleep during the evening, sleep during the day. Co-worker that undiagnosed sleep apnea kept falling asleep in meetings. Once he got diagnosed and treated, he was like a different person. Yeah, no, sleep apnea is terrible. I wake up before alarms. My body knows what time it is. Yeah, I have a very good time sense. It's like I will always get up to check the microwave 3 seconds before it goes off. That's my superpower. It's the worst superpower.
Yeah, it's not great.
I will know what time it is within like 20 minutes, even if there are no clocks around. I mean, it's better than having no superpower, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe. I think I'm done.
Okay. I could wrap up here too.
Okay. I'm sorry, I just finished June.
No,
and I
that's
don't
fine.
want to start on the new journal because I got a new book. There's not a lot of pages left in this one.
Yeah, I'm actually a lot closer to done on that sketch than it looks, but because there's not really any detail on the lower playfield there.
Okay.
So, it was fun, Cleo.
All right.
Let's dismiss to our individual chats, I guess. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah.
Yeah. Speak to you later. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so we are going to turn off the Cleo window capture. Woo! Thank y'all for hanging out with me today. We had a lot of fun. We got some stuff drawn, and we got to rotate a little bit. My next stream is tomorrow morning at normal time, 8:30 a.m. We'll be hanging out with Quinn on guitar, playing some Hermitcraft. Should be a lot of fun. I'm going to move this camera back this way so I'm a little bit more centered here. Okay, so let's go ahead. Yep, thank y'all for stopping by. Thank y'all who chose to tip. It is appreciated. We are going to go ahead and see what's going on in the broader world of Twitch.television. Let's see. I think we'll go ahead and send some people over to Pearlescent Moon, who's playing Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So, /raid. I've only played about 6 hours of this game. Y'all watched it. I'm kind of saving the rest for after my kid goes off to the other side of the family for the summer. So I'm probably not going to stick around. I don't want to see too much ahead of time. But I hope that y'all enjoy hanging out with Pearl. Until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring. Do-do-do-do. Stop.